Okay, so this is Lab 9, working on the circular system of the Sqalus.
The first thing we're looking at here is the sinus venosus, which is one of the chambers of the heart. It's mostly just this little flap here. The next thing is the atrium, which you can see on both sides here. It's actually one piece if you lift this up. And then the large mass here is the ventricle, because that's the actual muscle that's pumping the blood. And the last chamber is the conus arteriosus. Right along here, that's great. And right where you see this line here is when it suddenly becomes the ventral aorta. All of these pink arteries that you see along here are the coronary arteries, and coronary because it's going around the heart. Coming off of the ventral aorta, you can see these little arteries coming off here that haven't been dyed, and those are the affervent branchial arteries. Now, if you open up the mouth, you can see here these other pink arteries moving up along here, and those are the effervent branchial arteries. And they all come together into the dorsal aorta that comes all the way down the back of the shark. Okay, now moving a little bit further into the body cavity, the first artery that you see break off of the dorsal aorta is the celiac artery. And then moving down, you have to move the liver out of the way to kind of see these. But we have the first one splitting here is the, the anterior mesenteric artery. And the second one is the lenogastric artery. Now, you have to be careful and really pay attention to where the artery is going, because she said that it depends on the shark which one is going to be first and second. Moving even further back, you can see this artery here that goes to the digitorum, and that is the posterior mesenteric artery. And even further back, we have the iliac arteries, and there's one here and one you can't really see on this side, but so those are bilateral arteries that go to the ilium or the pectoral or the pelvic girdle here. Moving further back up to the top, in the sinus venosus, you can see here, you can kind of see, you can see that my probe goes into these holes here. And the actual holes themselves are the hepatic vein, and then the space that's in there is the hepatic sinus. Looking here, you can see these little red lines along the myoseptums. Those are the intersegmental veins. Okay, now moving back up into the mouth, we have here this one artery that's dipping down and going off to the pectoral girdle. That's the subclavian artery. And going back into here, coming off of the celiac, you can see the gonadal artery. Up in the mouth, this artery that's going around the circle of the top is the internal carotid artery. And these kind of veiny arteries here are the pharyngoesophageal arteries. And you can't really see it very well on our shark, but over here on the ventral side of the mouth is the external carotid arteries. Okay, moving back into the cavity. If you move over to this side, this is the celiac again, coming off of the dorsal artery. And you can see it splits into 3 separate things here.
So where's the celiac again?
The celiac is this one here. And it splits into these 3 different arteries. The artery going up to the liver is the hepatic artery. The artery splitting to the side is the gastric artery. And the one that continues down as if it was the celiac again is the anterior...
Isn't that the long
Oh, no, I'm sorry, yeah. That's the pancreomesenteric artery. So then, when...
Pancreatico-mesenteric.
Okay, so then when the pancreatomesenteric artery runs into the intestines down here, you can kind of see it. It's hard to see with all of this extra stuff, but it turns into the anterior intestinal artery. And then all of this yellow that you see coming up this way, but specifically right here, is the hepatic portal vein. And it's a vein, and it's yellow because it's taking the blood back to the heart. And I believe that's it.